And welcome back with our last guest of the evening, assistant coach Kevin Purtell, also known as KP. And at the insistence of a number of the assistant coaches, we thought it would be a good idea to start bringing them on, get some of their insights into what they do and how they work with things. And I want to thank you very much for coming on, Coach. It's a real pleasure having you here.
Thank you. That's nice of you to have me.
Okay. You've been coaching for a while. This is you've got 14 years in.
Yeah.
And you've got a new staff here. You've got a new head coach, and I wanted to ask you about how that works out when you're one of the older hands and you got a lot of new guys coming in. How's that mix work out for you?
It's fresh.
It's fresh.
No, basically, I'm pretty good at adjusting to situations and what circumstances, and I kind of see the big picture. I mean, it's basically about the team. I mean, and so bringing in a new coaching staff. I mean, this was my third head coach since I've been to the school, and it just basically it's all about coming together and finding a way to put all the mesh together. And I think for the most part, these guys, my coaches, they're fun. And, we have a great time on the weekends and stuff. And they're always teasing me here and there, so it's good. But and the kids, I just love them to death. I mean, I'm probably there for the biggest part because I love the kids at the school, and it's a great school, so I'm really excited about it.
Did you get into coaching because of real good coaches that you had along the way? Were they marks of inspiration for you? Did you fall into it because of that?
Well, actually, I started coaching when I was actually a freshman in high school. My girls' basketball team needed a coach, assistant coach, so I helped my coach be assistant there. And then when I transferred to another school, I became a coach there, not knowing that my future was I was going to be a coach. But really what made me coach for such a long time so far, I mean for this period of time, is that I had a kid, John Spence, who was in the band No Doubt with Gwen Stefani. And John's dad told him that he didn't mean anything, he wasn't ever going to be anything. And John went by our school and behind the building of a bank and blew his head off. So I told myself, I said, you know what, I'm going to coach for the rest of my life until I die, because I think that a lot of kids need to know that someone believes in them. So if his father doesn't believe in him, I'm going to believe in him. So that's kind of what keeps me motivated in coaching. And every time that I feel that something takes me to the left or right, I got to get back to the center. And the center is I'm here for these kids and the ones that people don't believe in them, to show them that, you know what, here's someone that loves you and cares for you. So that's my biggest thing, what motivates me personally to keep on coaching. And that's why I can do it for so long.
Yeah, those are inspiring words out of an unfortunate circumstance, but it definitely gives you direction and a focus to do, and I appreciate that. All right, let's turn now to what goes on in a game. And you're down on the sidelines, or are you up in the booth?
I'm actually on the sideline, actually.
All right. And your in-game responsibilities, I know you coach the running back, so what goes on during the process, ebb and flow of a game? What are you focusing on? Well,
in the beginning of the game, I'm usually in charge of stretching, so I get the team stretched and pretty much motivated and ready, hopefully, to get ready for the game. And then pretty much turn them over to, the most part, to a lot of the coaches, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. And then just hopefully that they're prepared and ready to go with the discipline that we try to spread throughout the program, and just being focused before the game starts. So that's really my biggest thing I do before the game.
All right, so during the game on substitution, running backs, moving anybody around,
well,
is that
I'm in
up
charge
to you?
of the substitution of the running backs for the most part. I mean, my offense coordinators were nice enough to let me do that. And then, it's pretty much easy rotation. I pretty much have two guys that go in. We start with Mitch, who gets it started, so it's good. And then Gibby takes over after that, so it's good.
Scouting, do you have any responsibilities for scouting during the process?
Scouting is really not really many of my responsibilities, because I run a business too, so I have a business I have to run on the weekends. My coaches understand that, and so I come in and out. We have meetings that we have to be together at mandatory at certain times, like at 12 o'clock, and then we all come together and talk about what we're going to do this week. So I'm there for that, but for the most part, my offensive coordinators and my defensive coordinators and my head coach and the rest of the coaches pretty much get the game plan ready for the week.
All right. You've given us some information about how you got into coaching. Let's say I'm a young guy. I'm thinking about getting into coaching. I come to you and I say, Coach, give me some ideas about what I might need to do, or what direction. What should I be doing if I want to get into coaching? What advice would you give to me as a young guy?
Well, I'd say basically probably start off in like Junior All-American or some Pop Warner, just so you can get some experience. So when you do get up to like the high school level, you have an idea of what you're doing, so you're not embarrassed when you get to kids like, at the high school level where they're reading the internet all the time, looking at the internet and finding things to try to see if the coaches are wrong or right or something they're teaching. So you go in there and you have the confidence, so when you can show the kids, what they're actually doing, they're actually doing it, versus like, let's just tell them something that they're not really doing. Just knowing what you're talking about is the biggest thing.
All
For
right.
the most part.
Now, I know you've had a number of former players that have gone with you in 14 years. Actually, you've seen a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Give us some of the idea who some of the most successful of your former players have been.
Well, I'd say, there's been many that have been successful, but I think that one that stands out to me for the most part is the running back, P.J. Valier, who was an amazing running back in Orange County, who I got the privilege of coaching. I didn't actually coach him when he was actually the running back, but I trained him since he was like in 7th grade all the way to his senior year. And it's just, the kid was amazing. I mean, just the hard work, the effort he put in, and like, for instance, like he would have some other plans to do something with his family or something like that, and I'd say, PJ, we got to train. And then he would train, so he just understood it, and now he's playing at Humboldt, and hopefully that goes well with him. He had a big injury when he was playing at Davis, so he hasn't really recovered from that injury to a certain extent, but he's trying to make the best of it. And I just his motivation, I think the drive that he started when he was in 7th grade will carry him throughout his life to keep on fighting, versus when people say you can't, you just keep on going.
All
so
right.
That's good.
Thank you. Your communication with current modern players, what kind of things do you try to do to get their attention, get them motivated?
My motivation is basically, I tell them do it the first time. Listen to your coaches. They're trying to teach you the right things. They've been there before. You're not older than they are. Understand that. There's things that kids today are going to find out or learn or know, but you have to look at the big picture. The coaches have been around. That's the one thing I learned as a kid that I think some kids don't learn as a young age, is that these people have been here longer than me. So they're going to know more than what I know. And if I just listen, I might learn something. And that's the biggest thing. But I think for the most part, most of the kids listen, and they're open for new information all the time. And so that's probably my biggest thing.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate you sharing what you've been able to say to us tonight. You did a good job with it all.
Well,
and want to thank all of our guests, by the way, tonight with Coach Orloff and Daniel Tagdiri, Jonathan Newsom, the quarterback, and Mitch Simonson, the running back, and all of you for coming tonight. Hope you had a good evening with it all. I expect to see you all there Friday night for the game with Aliso Niguel. And this has been the Coach's Corner, and Peppino's Italian Restaurant and Lounge has been nice enough to let us come in here and use their place for a while. I'm Steve Hinkle with IBN Sports saying good night. And as always, please be sure to enjoy the process. Have fun, and good night.